Good morning. Can we start today with a joyful noise, please? Woo! It is important that you showed up this morning. Gathering together in community is an act of rebellion against isolation and hopelessness. And to that, what do we say? We are rebels for hope. Excellent. Please join me in whatever way is comfortable in singing our first hymn. We laugh, we cry, we are just doing 2 verses of it. The lyrics will be up on the screen. It's number 354 if you're using the hymnal.
Unitarian Universalism is a faith that is spiritually alive, values-centered, and radically inclusive. We begin each service by kindling a flaming chalice. Those who came before us lit this flame as a beacon of welcome to those in need of a place of sanctuary and belonging. We strive to continue that legacy here today. We kindle this flame with words from Cynthia Landrum, All the Lights of Heavens. For the wonder and inspiration we seek from sun and stars and all the lights of the heavens, we light this chalice. You will find ways our community works for love and justice on the back of your order of service. A few highlights are that the 2026 Canvas Drive is coming to an end. If you have not pledged yet, please find our Canvas team after the service, fill out the online form, or pick up a form in the office. And we're looking forward to a photography show that is going to feature the works from our youth programs photography class on April 19th in the atrium. More details can be found on the back of your order of service.
Thank you, Diana. That's good stuff to know, but the most important thing to know is that no matter who you are,
what you believe or who you love,
where you're from or what identities you hold,
with all of your joys and gifts,
with all of your pain and history,
you are welcomed and wanted here.
Come, let us worship together. Let us enter into a time of respite outside the demands of daily life. I invite you to center yourself and sink into spirit with the power of music.
So, I would like to invite our Crossing Paths students to come on up to the front of the room. We are going to recognize them today for all their hard work and their journey this year. Is Uriah here? He just left? Okay. His mom is getting him. Okay. So, we've been on a journey together this year, and we have been studying 6 different religions and visiting 6 different places of worship. And here are some of just to remind you guys, of the places that we've gone as a group. So we studied UUism, and we went to Grosse Pointe Unitarian Universalist Church in September, and then we studied Christianity, and we went to St. David's Episcopal Church in Southfield. Then we studied Judaism. We went to Tehillah, a Jewish congregation in Ferndale. Then we studied Buddhism in January, and we went to the Detroit Zen Center in Hamtramck. And in February, we studied Hinduism, and we went to the Bharatiya Temple, Hindu temple in Troy. And finally, we studied Islam, and today we are going to the Islamic Institute of America in Dearborn Heights. So these are some of the things we did, and I wanted to ask the youth if you guys had anything that you enjoyed about this experience with the Crossing Paths. Was there something that stood out to you?
I loved going to the Hindu temple. I think it was really beautiful, and their practices seemed just so cool.
I really enjoyed the visits, and I thought it was really well set up. It was really enjoyable.
I really liked the Buddhist temple because it was just relaxing and it was just cool.
I really like going to the Hindu temple and learning about their history. It was cool.
So we have some certificates, but before I give them to the youth, I would like to have the parents who drove the youth all around to all these places and helped with bringing them every Sunday morning to church. Can you please stand up and recognize all the parents? Thank you. Do we have any teachers here that helped with the Crossing Paths? Could you please come on up if you are a teacher to the front? Yeah, come on up to the front and you can help me with their certificates. So Amy Vanson helped, Jacob Myers helped, Sam Singer, Trina Toko, Jason Botson, Rebecca Banks, and Brian Partham all helped with the teaching. So come on up, teachers. Yeah, you can stand up. Move this out of the way. Okay, this thing is just gonna go down. Yeah. So we have some certificates for you guys today, and I'm gonna have the teachers give them to you. Why don't you guys stand actually over there? Stand right over here. Here. Okay. Yeah. Uriah already took this. All right, so we're going to recognize this morning Wilhelmina Marcotte for her completion of this program. And Olive Kinnan. Uriah Toko. Annika Partham. And Aaron Banks. So this is our group. They did a marvelous job. We are so happy that we were able to complete this program with all these 5 youth, and let's give them one more round of applause. So now we are going to be going to our classes and preparing for the youth service next week. And they're going to be doing a play, so they're going to be making costumes. And the younger kids are going to be doing their photography for the show. So who wants to carry the flame? Brooklyn, you want to? Okay, you can get it from Eli. Please rise if you're able, and we will sing the children to their classes.
Important work coming through. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are.
Did you know that it's Canvas time? If you haven't heard, I'd like to invite Amy and Dan to come up and give us some updates.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Amy Vanson, and I'm on the Northwest UU's board, and was asked to give an initial report back on our Canvas so far, because, you know, good surprises are great, bad surprises not so good. So we don't want people to be surprised, but we do want you to be very informed and know about this. So last year, the pledges totaled $210,000. Yay. So far, we are at $148,000. So that's not nothing, but it's not $210,000. And we as a board are going to lower the budgeted pledge income because we want to be realistic. We know, again, that this might be surprising, and so we wanted to share this information because we hope that anyone who hasn't had a chance to pledge would consider doing so, and that we are expecting to we're going to have to make some hard decisions because we don't think that even with who hasn't pledged, unless, you know, we win the lotto, we're not going to make up the difference between $148,000 and $210,000. So we're going to have to make some hard decisions about the next budget. And we aren't the only congregation going through this. This is not unique to Northwest UU. But we know that the way through this is there's a few things, right? We can bring in new members. So we hope that in addition to pledging, all of us make a bigger effort to talk with the rest of our groups out there about how great of a community this is, and to encourage folks to come check us out, right? We also encourage more folks to consider joining committees. I know nobody goes to church to join committees, but it is how we sustain this place and programs and build an outreach plan, because the load is lighter with more hands. So thank you.
And to follow up on what Amy was talking about, our goal for pledges this year for First Church is $80,000. Our goal last year was $75,000, and we got $78,000 in pledges, so we're conservatively going up a little bit, getting more positive. Right now, we've got about $48,000 that has been pledged, and there is a call sheet that has been distributed among the membership and the board. And so we will be making calls to some people to see if, just to send reminders out. And one of the things I want to say is that while we are collaborating under one roof for now, there is still a need for separate identities, as Detroiters have different needs to meet theirs than suburban congregants. But I do not in no way mean to diminish the benefits of this collaboration. It's great seeing more children in RE, especially as ones as engaged as ours as we saw this morning. Helps remind one of the big reasons why we're in it for the long haul. And it's great having staff to take some of the burden off volunteers to handle social hour, newsletters, maintenance, and timely administration to allow the ministers more time to minister. And it's great having a ministry to help us meet the times we find ourselves in. It's great to collaborate with like-minded justice-seeking people, cooperating on a regional basis. And in the times in which we find ourselves, people are searching for human connection in general. The times also include a rogue federal administration and the need for ongoing organizations that can provide connection, spiritual inspiration, and sustenance to get through such times. Your pledge can help continue this work. The upcoming arbitration decision will determine what place First Church will reside in, not whether First UU will be in Detroit. When I first joined in Detroit, there was a different mission statement. It was in defiance of the white flight that drained the city. I can't remember it exactly, but it basically said, and I paraphrase, "We're not going anywhere, get used to it." It's a different kind of pledge, not a monetary one, but the monetary one will better help us fulfill it. Thank you.
Thank you. Each month, we share our plate with a community partner. This month, that partner is the UU Ministry for the Earth. It is a seedbed for spiritual grounding and education that inspires deep practices of earth care, justice, and flourishing for all. Together, our generosity multiplies. All undesignated contributions will be split between the UU Ministry for Earth and our congregation. A QR code will be displayed on the monitors to donate. No matter what you contribute to the church, be it funds or time or simply the generous presence of your spirit, know that we are grateful for your gifts. Let's step into gratitude together. Please read aloud the words of dedication which are written in your order of service. To the work of creating beloved community within and beyond these walls, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings. Carl Sagan's book, Pale Blue Dot, was inspired by an image taken at Sagan's suggestion by Voyager 1 on the 14th of February, 1990. As the spacecraft was departing from our planetary neighborhood for the fringes of the solar system, 4 billion miles from Earth, it turned around for one last look at its home planet. The photo shows Earth as just a tiny point of light, a pale blue dot. Sagan wrote, "Look at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor, explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this darkness, all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humble and character-building experience. There is perhaps no demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Instead of a hymn now, we're going to hear some space-inspired music performed by Steve Curtin and Scott Ashley.
Isn't it cool that humans decided what space sounds like? We all just kind of agreed that, like, yeah, that's it. So riddle type question. What does Johnny Be Good, a humpback whale, and Newton's Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica have in common? Come on. I'll get back to that. Make a note not to let the Marcotts into the service anymore. And I know I've talked about my love of sci-fi up here before. I don't think I really got through how much I was absolutely surrounded by it as a kid. That was the books that we had on the shelf. It was Asimov, it was Adams, it was on the TV, we watched Star Trek. My cousin was really into Star Wars, so of course I was into Star Wars. We had a ton of VHSs of just the most worst sci-fi films you've ever seen in your life. Zardoz being among them. I don't know if anyone else has seen Zardoz. It's Sean Connery in very little clothing. It's very weird. And my dad and I's favorite show was X-Files. I have a tattoo of a UFO on my leg. Shows and books that constantly had me looking up to the stars. And I balanced learning as much of the science as I could, but that really wasn't my interest. I wanted the fiction part of it. It was such a creative sandbox. We knew a lot, but we still knew so little, and so there was still so much creativity that could happen in sci-fi. It was the final frontier, you know? And I can't remember a time in my life when my peers, at least some of them, weren't also fascinated by space. There was always the kid who wanted to be an astronaut. There was always the kid who knew every constellation. There was always the kid that had the absolute correct model of the solar system with accurate moons at the science fair. And that's really not shocking because we were a generation raised by people who got to watch the moon landing. Either our parents or our grandparents, depending on how old our parents were when they had us. It was a fascination passed down through the generation. And I'm sure some people in this room still remember where they were when they watched either the moon landing or the first space NASA thing that they saw on TV. And I didn't get to see the moon landing, but I have been able to see absolute triumphs of NASA in our country. Spirit, Opportunity, and Curiosity rovers sent and on successful missions, sending us back photos and information of things we've never even seen before. We reached Pluto in my lifetime and did it dirty. We saw the first images of a black hole. We knew they existed, and now we know what they look like. Terrifying. Awesome. I've also witnessed the disastrous takeoff of the Columbia. And I've seen decades of politicians and capitalists try to squash the work of NASA. Apparently, there's always money for war, but there's not money for science. And it was rough, moving from the breathless awe of my youth as I stared up to the stars to the world where adults talked about numbers. And listen, I don't think it's entirely fair to blame it all on Elon Musk, but I'm gonna. Because people have been against NASA from the beginning. I know that. But Musk is the current figurehead of this tension between discovery and colonization. I've read a lot of sci-fi. Musk is that guy where everything starts to go wrong, you know? Where everything takes a bad turn. And maybe I'm putting space on a pedestal. Maybe I'm personifying space. When I look up at the stars away from the city lights, I can't help but imagine the cosmos as a thing, an entity. And space doesn't need me to protect it. It's a dangerous place for us, not conducive to life of carbon-based, oxygen, and water-needing beings. But there's something about that wonder, that awe, that seems important. So I come back to that question, what does Johnny Be Good, a humpback whale, and Newton's Mathematica have in common? And as stated, these are all things that are on the Voyager golden records. There's 2. They were placed on Voyager 1 and 2 in 1977. The items that were on the records were selected by the NASA committee chaired at the time by Carl Sagan. It contains images, natural sounds of Earth, mathematical and biological information about humans, as well as my favorite part, greetings in 55 languages. Some of my favorites are the Mandarin Chinese, which translates to, "How's everyone? We all very much wish to meet you. If you're free, please come visit." I also like the Nanya, which translates to, "How are all you people of other planets?" The Amoy, "Friends from space, how are you all? Have you eaten yet? Come visit us if you have time." And it ends with Sagan's son, Nick, who was 6 at the time, saying, "Hello from the children of planet Earth." One of the ethnomusicologists, Alan Lomax, who worked on the project, didn't want Johnny Be Good included. He called it adolescent. Sagan said, "There are a lot of adolescents on the planet." It also has an hour-long recording of brainwaves from Anne Druyan that is compressed into only a minute of audio. During this time, she thought of everything she could think of: Earth's history, the rise and fall of civilizations, and what it was like to fall in love. Sagan understood that we were essentially putting a message in a bottle, but it said something hopeful about the planet. And that's a pretty audacious hope, I think. I'm sure that it was debated at the time of the usefulness of why are we spending time and money on this, but the creation of this disc doesn't have the body count that all the money we put to war has, so I'm willing to dismiss those arguments. And lately, I've been watching the videos of Artemis 2. As of yesterday, I think the day before, they landed safely back home. They're back on Earth, safe and sound. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know we were sending people up. It caught me by surprise. I don't know if anyone else was caught by surprise by it. With everything happening, I missed it. And the day of, I even considered just ignoring it. Felt like a distraction. It felt useless. And it was hard to conjure up any care with everything else that was going on. And I'll be honest, it was my anxiety of the Columbia disaster that made me watch. I didn't want to, I needed to see, I didn't want to see, but I just had to know that they made it. And I didn't want to hear secondhand, so I watched it. And immediately there was that breathless awe again. We were sending people to space. How cool is that? And, you know, I know we've had SpaceX and we've had those types of things, and I just didn't have the same excitement for it. This was different. And so I've been watching our astronauts up there. I've watched them show us how they live in space. I've watched them lose their words as they circle around to the dark side of the moon and got to see things that human eyes have never seen. And I've watched them cry and hug as Reed Wiseman honors his wife Carol by naming a crater after her, watching humanity so far from home. So is it a distraction? No. It's a reminder that our humanity is capable of so much more than we've been doing. We are not relegated to just violence and harm, and I think this reminder is very important right now. The best sci-fi of my childhood was hopeful. I never really gravitated towards the gritty, dark stuff. I wanted stories of scrappy underlings triumphing, little robots who could. And in reality, space is vast and unknowable. It is complicated. I love space, but I don't even claim to be well-versed in the science of space. I don't even think I could name the planets in order if I was pressed. I'm a fiction reader. Leave me alone. And if you've never talked to an astrophysicist, talk to an astrophysicist. Every time I've talked to anyone professionally or even just as a hobby that has an interest in space, the way they talk about it is very akin to the way that I can talk about God. It's intricate. And some of it is just unknowable. We don't know yet. We don't have the words for it. We don't have the science for it. For now. And the ones that I've spoken to also have very little interest in making that complexity more palatable. The complexity is purposeful. The complexity is important. The cosmos must remain complex. And maybe that's why it's so threatening to people like Musk and any politician who's tried to shut down NASA. Maybe the complexity is a threat. It is complex and unconquerable. That's got to be frustrating. Musk and his ilk, I don't really think they're bright enough or passionate enough or creative enough to even begin to understand, let alone master, the cosmos. Sure, SpaceX has sent people up, but he must be seeing how much the world has held their breath, celebrated with and been overjoyed with the Artemis crew. I don't recall there being this enthusiasm for his commercial flights. And I think, maybe this is me projecting, it's because we all know deep down that he just wants to own more things. Artemis 2 doesn't want to own the moon. They know that the moon is unownable. Musk and his ilk are what you get when you send in a capitalist fascist in where poets, artists, and science should be wandering. A scout learning the constellation has more heft to me than Musk and his ilk, unable to do a single thing without harm and littering the orbit with their space junk. We have seen how this billionaire technocrat class cannot deal with complexity. They are constantly preaching simplicity and efficiency, and the cosmos shrugs them off every single time. Life here on Earth shrugs that off every single time. No matter how hard they try, they cannot innovate, and I use that word very lightly, their way out of the things that are happening into something neatly ordered. And life is not neatly ordered, and it is not neatly controlled. That's what it comes down to. Human beings are deeply complicated, various, nuanced, and infinite. We're reflected in the cosmos, and the cosmos is reflected in us. That does not align well with the type of violent authority we are seeing being attempted over and over again. And I say attempted purposefully. Yes, we need to address the dangers of the moment. We have to fight back against this corrupt regime. But I think we also need to hold fast on to it not lasting. It never does. When they tell us we are nothing more than our base violence, greed, and corruption, they are not providing some deep philosophical insight. All they are doing is telling on themselves. They have cut themselves off from their complexity because, I don't know. But at the end of the day, past all my rage and frustration, all I have is pity. I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry that when they look up into the heavens, they see dollar signs. I'm sorry that they look around this earth and see nothing but numbers and data, and I feel sorry that they cannot look their fellow beings in the eye and have anything in common with them. With their wealth, their hoarding of power, their isolation, they keep taking a knife and sawing at the connection that they have to the web. And any attempt to grow it back, they just go back to hacking. What a terrible way to live. We heard from Sagan in the reading today. He talked about the importance of our seeing ourselves on that pale blue dot. And it was never meant to belittle or demean or make us feel that we are insignificant and therefore that nothing matters. Sagan wanted us to feel insignificant, to realize everything matters. He said it, I think, for the same reason he flung our art, our science, and our voices into space. He knew that this planet and the people on it are worth saving. Yes, even those ones, and even those ones. If we start believing the billionaires and the fascists and the warmongers that humans aren't worth saving, that it's every person for themselves, we have lost. They are so afraid, and we cannot be driven by their fear. We must be driven by love, and a love that is complex, a love that makes room for the complex, a love that has to be big enough to hold the idea that the better world we are building will also be for the ones who have frantically been trying to destroy it. They also have to be worth building it for. The Voyager disc didn't talk about who the good guys and the bad guys were. It just gave the story of us. A story still being written, our little pale blue dot, a speck in the grand expansiveness of the cosmos. A cosmos that both cradles us and a cosmos that doesn't even know who we are. A place that even when you begin to understand it, holds us at a distance with mystery and awe. We can be the us that sends people to the moon, that sends robots with names like Spirit and Opportunity and Curiosity, the us that programs those robots to sing happy birthday to themselves, the us that recorded 55 people saying hello, hope you're well, have you eaten? We are closer to that us than the us that we are being right now. Sagan said, a still more glorious dawn awaits. But it will take our belief that that dawn is possible and our dedication to working to make it so. If anyone ever intercepts our lonely little voyagers, hears our voices, sees our art, listens to our music, what kind of earth will they come down to find?
Please rise, embody your spirit, and join in singing hymn number 319, Ye Earthborn Children of a Star. Are we singing this to a different tune than it's in the hymnal?
Yes.
Can you play it?
Yeah, I'll play it.
Yeah.
As I always do.
Stay standing, and I invite you all to turn and face each other. And witness who arrived today to build this community together. Please reach out if you are comfortable or make a reverent gesture with your hands over your heart, and together we will sing.
Please repeat after me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
The warmth of community.
The warmth of community.
Or the fire of commitment.
Or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And we sing. We are whole. We are holy. We are holy. One another. Reed Wiseman said in the post-landing talk, sort of breathless, that it's a special thing to be human and a special thing to be back on Earth. What a powerful thing for one of the few humans who has left Earth to understand how special it is to be here. For centuries, we have been looking up, and for a much shorter time, we've been looking back down. Today, Todd played Vincent. We've always had artists wondering what the cosmos look like and showing us how they see the world. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it, and we're worth it. Amen. We are whole.